and the Land Drainage Authority became operational on 1st June 2018. Madam Speaker, I wish to highlight that the LDA does not implement drains project. Rather, it is the spearheading body of the National Flood Management Program, and as such, it allocates drains project to implementing agencies, which are the National Development Unit, the Road Development Authority, the Drains Infrastructure Construction Limited, and local authorities. Madam Speaker, with regards to the DICL, I am informed that a total number of 58 drains project has been allocated to it by the LDA. A status on the projects are as follows. A, 4 projects for a total amount of 281,735,292.99 have been completed. 10 projects for a total amount of some 1.4 billion are under construction. 11 projects estimated at 2.4 billion are at bidding stage. 20 projects estimated at 2.1 billion are at design stage. And for the remaining 13 projects, financial clearance of approximately 2.1 billion is awaited from the Ministry of Finance. Thank you.
Yes.
Merci, Madame. I would like to ask the Honourable Minister whether he is satisfied with only 4 projects completed till date since the inception of the LDA and the structure that has been established for executing drain projects.
Obviously, I'm not satisfied with only four projects, but we have to realize also that it's quite a complex. There is a complexity in the designing process, in the bidding process, and because we are talking of billions of rupees, and we have a land drainage master plan on which the Land Drainage Authority bases itself to prepare all the plans and all where we are going to construct the drains. Obviously, I'm not satisfied, and we'll review things.
Yes.
Yes, Honourable Minister, I would humbly request you whether it's possible to speed up, especially in terms of allocation of resources to executing bodies like NDU, RDA, DICL, and the local authorities, which very often tend to rely on financial resources from the LDA to execute the projects.
I must say they don't rely on financial clearance from the LDA. They rely on financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance, because we must get finance first, then we undergo projects. But we must also say, to be fair, at times you get many complexities like right of entry on the lands, the acquisition of lands. All these take time because at times you get owners which are reluctant to put their land at the disposal of government. So all these make that the project is delayed.
Okay. Next question. Honourable third member for Portrush South and Portrush Central.
B64, please. Madame la Présidente, en ce qui concerne la partie A de la question, je suis informé que Madame YL, ancienne auditrice interne en chef de la CWA, a soumis sa lettre de démission au directeur général de l'époque, Monsieur PM, le 3 juin 2024. Dans sa lettre de démission, Madame YL a informé le directeur général de l'époque, M. PM, qu'elle avait été victime d'abus verbaux, d'intimidation, de harcèlement et d'actes de représailles depuis qu'elle avait été chargée d'effectuer un audit de conformité sur le programme interne de remplacement des tuyaux mené par la CWA pour l'année 2023-2024. Elle a également fait référence aux accusations sans fondement, discriminatoires, diffamatoires, portées contre elle par l'ancien directeur général de la Central Water Authority, M. PM, et le directeur général adjoint de la CWA dans 2 mémos qui lui ont été adressés. Ces actions ont été entreprises selon elle, donc l'auditrice en chef, dans le but de faire taire ses rapports ou de la punir pour avoir rempli ses responsabilités vis-à-vis de la CWA. Elle a également déclaré, la dame en question, que le plan d'audit interne de l'autorité centrale de l'eau pour 2023-2024 n'avait pas été approuvé par le board sur la base d'affirmations inexactes faites par le directeur général de l'époque, le monsieur PM. Elle a aussi ajouté dans sa lettre de démission, la dame, que malgré ses tentatives de régler les problèmes subventionnés par les voies appropriées, aucune mesure significative n'a été prise. Pour les raisons subventionnées, l'auditrice en chef a déclaré qu'elle n'avait d'autre choix que de démissionner de son poste d'auditrice interne en chef de la CWA. La Chambre se souviendra, Madame la Présidente, que les malheurs de Madame YL ont commencé après qu'elle a soumis son rapport sur le programme de remplacement des tuyaux internes, c'est ce qu'on appelle le In-House Pipe Replacement Programme, ce fameux scandale, qui doit être entrepris par la CWA d'avril 2023 à décembre 2024, qui prévoyait un financement de 700 millions de roupies en 2 tranches de 350 millions de roupies chacune de mon ministère. Le plus intéressant, le rapport d'audit de la dame a relevé un catalogue d'actes et d'omissions coupables de la part de la CWA, du management et de M. PM, qui a recommandé que la deuxième tranche des 350 millions de roupies ne soit pas déboursée par mon ministère jusqu'à ce que les mesures correctives et les recommandations contenues dans le rapport soient mises en œuvre par la CWA. Pour la transparence, je dépose, Madame la Présidente, avec votre permission, une copie du rapport d'audit daté du 9 janvier 2024 à l'intention de la Chambre. Madame la Présidente, en ce qui concerne la partie B de la question, la CWA m'informe que depuis janvier 2023 à ce jour, tenez-vous bien, 128 membres du personnel ont démissionné. Et 9 en congé de sol, 2 cas de licenciement déguisé, pour vous dire. Merci, Madame la Présidente. Le dossier.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Ministre. Yes.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre, pour ces réponses tant attendues à la Chambre. Est-ce que le ministre peut nous dire s'il y a eu une enquête au niveau de son ministère pour voir si tous ces démissions et congés sans solde, dont il vient de mentionner 128 et 9, au niveau de la Central Water Authority, qui sont liés directement à la façon de faire du l'ex-general manager, M. PM, comme vous l'avez dit, qui a été de surcroît un ancien senior advisor au bureau du Premier ministre.
Madame la Présidente, et bien sûr, il y aura une enquête, c'est sûr, et j'attends la constitution du nouveau board de la Central Water Authority pour pouvoir demander au board d'avoir une enquête concernant les 128 membres qui ont démissionné depuis, mais aussi de demander une enquête en ce qui concerne le rapport d'audit. Le rapport d'audit, si vous me le permettez, Madame la Présidente, ce rapport d'audit, les membres de la Chambre auront l'occasion de voir ce que l'auditrice en chef a écrit. Comment, pour 700 millions de roupies, le management, l'ancien directeur général, a subdivisé un projet de 700 millions pour contourner les règlements. Ce que vous allez lire dans ce rapport, Madame la Présidente, est glaçant, inquiétant, scandaleux. Clairement, ce rapport fera l'objet d'une enquête. Clairement, ce rapport d'audit montre comment 700 millions de roupies a été volatilisé dans une opacité totale. L'ancien directeur général et le management auront tôt ou tard à répondre pour ce rapport.
Yes, Dr. Mia.
Monsieur le ministre, est-ce que votre ministère a-t-il pris les mesures nécessaires pour confirmer la véracité des pratiques submersives internes auxquelles l'auditrice en chef a fait référence dans son rapport? Je répète la question.
Oui, s'il vous plaît, oui.
Est-ce que votre ministère a-t-il pris les mesures nécessaires pour confirmer la véracité des pratiques submersives internes par l'ancien directeur auxquelles l'auditrice en chef a fait référence dans son rapport?
Madame la Présidente, je veux dire que l'enquête déterminera en temps et lieu qui a fait quoi.
Oui.
L'enquête déterminera en temps et lieu et le board décidera en temps et lieu et qui va enquêter sur ce rapport et les mesures qu'on va prendre. Mais entre-temps, je voudrais préciser à la Chambre que j'ai rencontré personnellement l'auditrice en chef. Je l'ai rencontré et je peux dire que cette personne, cette auditrice, c'est une professionnelle et cette personne est encore traumatisée par ce qu'elle a vécu entre les mains de M. PM. Donc, oui, une enquête va être pardon. Voilà, exactement, merci pour le mot. Donc, mais j'attends la constitution du board de la Central Water Authority pour faire le nécessaire. Merci, madame.
Merci. That's okay, Dr. Mia. I now call on first member for Montagne Blanche and Grand River Southeast.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B65.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am informed by the District Council of FLAC that the old market fair in Bel-Air was a private one, which does not fall under its control and is operating since more than 30 years. Around 340 sellers were working in this market fair. In the year of 2014, the District Council decided to construct a new market fair to accommodate a total of 515 stalls. Madam Speaker, following the construction of the new market fair, the District Council invited an expression of interest in accordance with Sections 57 of the Local Government Act on 19 April 2024 for allocation of the 515 stalls at new market fair. The eligibility criteria for allocation of stalls were as follows. Applicants should be over 18 years. Applicants should reside within the administrative area of the District Council of FLAC. This condition was not applicable for applicants operating at the private market fair as per survey record of the Public Health Department of the Council. Applicants should be unemployed. Applicant should not already be a holder of any stall, booths, shops, space, or other place inside a market or fair. And last, applicants should not already be a holder of any trade fee receipt, business registration card, or any license from any other authority. The expression of interest exercise was launched for the 515 available stalls, where 339 stalls were allocated in the new market fair, while 176 stalls were not allocated. Subsequently, 13 stalls were surrendered by the stall holders. Therefore, there were 189 vacant stalls to be allocated. Madam Speaker, as regard to Part B of the question, I am informed by the District Council that a survey was carried out by the Health Department and it was observed that 340 stall holders were operating in the old market fair. Only 145 obtained a stall in the new market fairs, while the remaining 195 stall holders either did not show interest or did not obtain a stall due to the following reason. The applicant were holders of business registration card to carry out business in other places. The applicant were holder of an stall in a market or fair in other local authorities. The applicant were holder of an employment. The applicant had not signed the application form and had not submitted the required document. Following representations from many of the sellers who were not found eligible, the criteria for the reallocation of stall were reviewed by the District Council, and a second expression of interest was launched on the 1st October 2024, whereby the fifth criterion was amended as follows. Applicant should not already be holder of any trade fees, receipt, business registration card, or any license from any other authority, save and except for persons already found in the survey list of the Public Health Department for being holder of a business registration card, for distributor of merchandise, general merchandise, owner of goods vehicle having A and/or B carrier license, or holder of any business registration card for activities in relation to the existing private fair, including growing of vegetables. Madam Speaker, I am informed by the District Council that the evaluation of the application is in progress by the Bid Evaluation Committee. Priority will be given to the existing stallholders operating at the private market fair, provided that they meet the eligibility criteria for allocation of stalls. My ministry is following up the matter closely. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Second Member for Savannah and Black River.
Madam Speaker, please, B66.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I am sure that the House will be stunned to note that the last approved audited accounts of the National Transport Corporation relate to financial year ending 31st December 2015. However, I'm informed by the NTC that the audited accounts for the financial year 2016-2017 was received on 29 October 2024, and that same will be considered by the Board for approval. What is more disturbing, Madam Speaker, is that accounts in respect of financial years 2017-2018, 2018-2019, and 2019 and 2020 were approved by the then NTC Board on 11 September 2024, and thereafter sent to the National Audit Office for audit purposes on 16 September 2024. One would wonder the compulsion of having the above accounts, which had been pending for several years, to be approved some 3 weeks before the issue of writs of for the last general elections. I leave it to the honourable members to draw their own conclusion. As regards financial statement for financial year 2020-2021, same are expected to be completed by end December 2024. To add insult to injury, Madam Speaker, I am informed that even the management accounts for years 2021-2022, 2022-2023, and 2023-2024 are not available and are now being prepared. Same are expected to be completed by end of February 2025, seemingly. Madam Speaker, it is utterly inconceivable for a government-owned entity generating billions of rupees to have such a backlog of outstanding accounts. This situation is totally unacceptable, as in the absence of final accounts, it might be difficult to gauge the true financial position of the corporation, which has been the recipient of billions of rupees of subsidies over the past few years. In fact, the Director of Audit raised serious concerns on the non-finalizations of the annual reports of the NTC in his previous management letters. Madam Speaker, the House will surely concur that we cannot condone the inordinate delay in finalizing the accounts of the corporation, the more so that the latter has to comply with the provisions relating to the statutory bodies Accounts and Audit Act relating to finalization of annual reports and financial statements within the applicable statutory delay. In fact, even before the question was addressed to me, I had instructed my ministry to urge the NTC to finalize the pending accounts, just like I did for the Metro Express Limited, and that same have to be audited as a matter of priority. Madam Speaker, this situation cannot be allowed to recur, and there is need for persons who had been at the helm of organizations for several years to be made accountable for the current state of affairs. It would appear that that dereliction of duty would be way too mild to explain the tardy and non-finalization of the accounts. Against this backdrop, the newly reconstituted board of the NNTC took the bold decision on 14 December 2024 to terminate the appointment of the general manager, and this I need to stress in accordance with the terms and conditions of his contract. An officer in charge, Dr. Ramakrishna Perumal Naidu, has been appointed pending the recruitment of a new general manager who will be designated following an open advertisement process. Madam Speaker, as regards the subsidy part of the question, in order not to be lengthy in my reply, I'm tabling the total amount of subsidy granted by government to the NTC from January 2020 to June 2024, and as communicated to me by the NTC. Madam Speaker, with regards to Part B of the question, the NTC owns a fleet of 499 buses with an overall average age of 11 years, and the fleet comprised of various makes and models, including Ashok Leyland, Tata, Yutong, and Nissan. With a view to improving the services, the NTC is in the process of replacing its aging buses with the procurement of 100 new diesel buses, while discussions are ongoing for the sourcing of 200 additional buses. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Dr. Honourable third member for Port Vista. I'm sorry, Dr. Min. He tried to catch my eye.
Madam Speaker, please.
Which is
May
not easy.
I ask the Honourable Minister if he is aware of an NTC bus that caught fire in my constituency on Sunday, and if what means of his ministry will take to ensure that type of event does not occur again.
Thank you. I thought so the Honourable Member would ask this question because Chemin-Grenier, where the accident occurs, is in his constituency, and that of the former Minister of Land Transport, the Minister Alan Ganou. Madam Speaker, members of the House, at least those who were here during the 2019-2024 session, would recall that the state of the NTC buses was subject of a parliamentary question on 7 November 2023, namely PQB 1405, wherein I queried the then Minister on the maintenance aspects. Unfortunately, I was rudely denied from fulfilling my parliamentary duties by the then Speaker and could not put additional questions as regard the servicing of Yutong buses, the make of the bus that caught fire in your constituency and was completely burned. The officer in charge of the NTC reported that a semi-low-floor bus of make Yutong caught with mark 2674 AP16 caught fire on 15 December 2024, the next day that the general manager was asked to leave by the board, around 12:30 hours at Chemin-Grenier. According to information provided to me by the NTC, the driver observed thick smoke emanating from the rear of the bus. He immediately stopped the bus and passengers were evacuated. So fortunately, there were no casualties. The driver could not, however, extinguish the fire with the onboard fire extinguisher, leading to the fire spreading to other parts of the bus. Despite the efforts put in by the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Services, the bus was completely burnt. Fortunately, no passengers were injured, like I said, though the driver sustained minor burns while attempting to put out the fire. The bus was towed to the forest side depot of the NTC. In the meantime, a preliminary report has been submitted to my ministry on the matter. However, with a view to having an independent inquiry on this issue, my ministry has requested the Mechanical Engineering Division of the Ministry of National Infrastructure to carry out a detailed investigation on the causes and circumstances of the fire outbreak. I rely on my colleague, the Minister of National Infrastructure, and for his officers to properly look into the matter. The maintenance strategy of the NTC buses will have to be redressed in the light of the findings of the above independent investigation, and we cannot and will not allow the lives of our fellow citizens to be put at risk. Thank you.
Thank you. Luckily, I allowed this question. Luckily, I allowed the question. Yes, now, Dr. Amir.
B67, please.
Madam Speaker, the post of general worker falls under the workman's class and is filled under the delegated powers conferred by the Public Service Commission. Recruitment is made by selection from a list of registered unemployed candidates obtained from the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training. Wherever there are vacancies in the grade, a list of registered and unemployed candidates is sought from that ministry. Madam Speaker, the main responsibilities of a general worker are, amongst others, to carry out excavation works, loading and transporting stack materials, effecting general cleaning works, and carrying out weeding and trimming works. Officers in the grade of general worker are also called upon to provide replacement in the grades of handy worker, tradesman, driver, and attendant, amongst others, to palliate the lack of staff in those grades. Madam Speaker, I'm informed that prior to the first of the preceding 3 recruitment exercises, the number of funded vacancies was 342 in July 2021. At the request of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, a list of 500 registered and unemployed candidates was submitted by the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training. Following the recruitment exercise, which was conducted between the period 23rd August to 13 September 2021, 297 candidates were offered employment. Out of these, 282 candidates assumed duty and 260 were confirmed in their appointment. The confirmation of 22 outstanding candidates is pending due to either poor attendance or unavailability of medical report. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that the number of funded vacancies was 225 in April 2023, prior to the second recruitment exercise. At the request of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, a list of 300 registered and employed candidates was submitted by the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training. Following the recruitment exercise, which was carried out from 18th to 23rd May 2023, 210 candidates were offered employment. Out of these, 189 candidates assumed duty and have completed 1 year casual basis in October 2024. The confirmation is under process. Madam Speaker, with regard to the last recruitment exercise, I am informed that the number of funded vacancies was 300 in April 2024. Again, at the request of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, a list of 600 registered unemployed candidates was submitted by the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training. Following the recruitment exercise, which was carried out from 9th to 17th May 2024, 284 candidates were offered employment. Out of these, 257 candidates assumed duty with effect from 8th July 2024 on a 1-year casual basis. With regard to part 3 of the question, the conditions of service for the post of general worker are as follows. Candidates were offered employment on a casual basis for a period of 1 year as from the date of assumption of duty. They draw wages at the rate of 10,250 monthly plus salary compensation at approved rates plus the minimum wage increase. They are placed on the permanent and pensionable establishment after having completed 1-year satisfactory service, subject to their being favorably reported upon regarding work conduct and attendance and found medically and constitutionally fit for employment in the service. They are required to make a contribution toward their pension at such rates as may be prescribed by law. They are granted leave entitlement as per the provisions of PRB report.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Doctor?
Thank you, Madam. Approximately 800 general workers have been recruited over a 3-term recruitment service. Will the Honourable Minister, for the sake of good governance and transparency, table a copy of these recruitment of general workers, indicating in each case the regions where the new recruits hail from?
I'll do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the Honourable Second Member for Vieux-Grand-Port and Rosedale.
Thank you, Madam the Speaker. It's question 1B68.
Madam Speaker, Section 88 of the Insurance Act 2005 provides for the establishment of the Insurance Industry Compensation Fund, IICF, and for the fund to be organized into different sub-funds. In this respect, the Hit and Run sub-fund has been set up under the Insurance Industry Compensation Fund Regulation 2015 with effect from 1st January 2016. Madam Speaker, I am informed that as at 13 December 2024, the total amount of funds available under the Hit and Run sub-fund was 357,209,827 rupees. The total amount of funds comprising contributions received from insurance companies ranging from 25 rupees to a maximum of 200 rupees per insurance policy of vehicle as per the first schedule of the Insurance Industry Compensation Fund Regulation 2015 and interest received. With regard to Part A of the question, in the year 2023-2024, the IICF has received 34 claims, out of which 26 were approved for compensation, 5 were rejected, and 3 are under consideration. The total amount disbursed for payment to the victims of hit and run accident for the year is 3,100,000 rupees. With regard to Part B of the question, expenses incurred by the IICF, which involve administrative, salaries, allowances, rental, and board fees. The fund is managed by a management committee and it has a technical committee. It amounts to 5,588,431 rupees. So 3 million paid to victims and 5.5 million incurred in expenses. I would like to state to the House that clearly there's an issue with this fund, Madam Speaker. At a time when our households up and down the country are struggling to make ends meet, where household bills are ever increasing, including car insurance premiums, the management of this fund and the functioning of this fund raises serious questions. There are funds of 357 million rupees sitting in this fund, but only 3 million disbursed to victims and 5.5 million in expenses. Secondly, I was appalled to learn that the 357 million rupees are sitting in current accounts with 0 interest rates. Can you imagine the amount of money? Just a back of envelope calculation, a 3% interest gives you 10 million in a year, and people have put that money in 0-rated current accounts. So given the above concerns, I will propose to review the functioning and the fundamental of the IICF, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yes?
Now that we know that there are some malpractices, would the Honourable Minister be able to take the appropriate measures to restore those funds in the deposit account for the benefit of the House?
Madam Speaker, there's a board of the FSC happening today, and I've already spoken to the PERMSEC of the ministry to raise this at the level of the board because this fund sits under the FSC board. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Happy? Okay. Now the Honourable Third Member for Rivière des Anguilles, Suyac.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B69.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that Industrial Revolution 5.0 represents the next transformative phase in global technological advancement, where the focus shifts to a more human-centric approach. It actually emphasizes collaboration between humans and intelligent systems to address critical societal challenges, while ensuring as well sustainability and inclusivity. Madam Speaker, my ministry has embarked on a resolute journey to align Mauritius with the transformative principles of Industrial Revolution 5.0. Madam Speaker, please allow me to now enumerate the measures taken. On December 11, 2024, my ministry successfully convened a workshop with ICT operators, uniting key leaders and innovators of the sector. This important gathering was more than just a discussion. It was focused on identifying critical challenges and unlocking opportunities that will propel the ICT sector into a new era of growth and innovation. As a result, a task force which is dedicated has been established to ensure the swift and strategic implementation of proposals that we received from the ICT operators. And the task force operates with a clear mandate to deliver results that meet specific needs of our nation and contribute to its digital transformation. Madam Speaker, beyond just the ICT sector, my ministry is also expanding its engagement to encompass education, health, tourism, agriculture, and industry at large. Through targeted sectoral meetings, the aim is to deeply understand the unique challenges and opportunities within each of these domains. These engagements will be followed by specialized workshops that will be modeled on the earlier workshop, and the insights gathered will form a foundation for a comprehensive blueprint that will be finalized by the first quarter of 2025. Madam Speaker, the previous government came up with an artificial intelligence strategy 2018-2022, which was more of a document than anything else. The said strategy comprised some 38 comprehensive recommendations. However, the only recommendation that was implemented was the establishment of the Mauritius Emerging Technologies Council that was meant to spearhead AI initiatives and oversee their implementation. The METC, Mauritius Emerging Technologies Council, hardly met any of its objectives. Therefore, there was no progress achieved. We understand, Madam Speaker, that it is imperative to highlight the previous government's lack of commitment to technological advancement and contextualize the vision of this newly formed government. In fact, only 0.41% of the national budget was allocated to this critical sector. No wonder the quality of the laptops were pretty poor. Madam Speaker, my ministry is dedicated to rectifying past oversights and propelling Mauritius into a future where technology serves as a cornerstone of economic growth and societal advancement. By allocating appropriate resources, fostering public understanding, and ensuring ethical AI integration, my ministry aims at positioning Mauritius as a beacon of technological innovation in Africa and globally as well. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, Mauritius stands ready to embrace the transformative potential of IR 5.0 and AI by addressing past shortcomings, strengthening institutions like the METC, and leveraging partnership with the African Union, UNESCO, and global platforms like the G20, which actually run an initiative on AI for Africa. So this government is laying the foundation for inclusive and sustainable progress. Our commitment is to position Mauritius as a leader in technology, ensuring AI and emerging innovations drive tangible benefits across all sectors of the economy. Thank you.
The Honourable Second Member for Vieux-Grand-Port and Rosebel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Is question 1B70.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am informed by the District Council of Grand Port that it has no renovation project for the football ground at Bois des Armourettes. I am further informed that the NDU, National Development Unit, is presently undertaking renovation works thereat. The NDU has apprised that phase 1 of the project of upgrading our work at Bois des Armourettes football ground consisted of returfing works. The contract was allocated to Sotravic Limited on 17 February 2023 by the NDU under its framework agreement for amenities for an amount of 6,715,349 rupees and cents 80, including VAT. With regard to the scope of works, the project consisted of excavation of the soil up to a depth of 0.95 meter, provision of spoles 200 to 300 millimeters thickness, up to a depth of 0.5 meter, laying of geotextile, construction of 135 meter of French drain, provision of engineering fill-up up to a depth of 0.25 meter, provision of topsoil up to a depth of 0.20 meter, leveling the football pitch, and gross planting of an extent of 4,250 meter square. Although the project started on the 6th March 2023 and was expected to be completed by 27 July 2023, the completion date was eventually extended to 7 September 2023 due to the inclement weather, causing the site to be unpractical due to the muddy conditions as well as a change in design due to the fact that the existing topography and ground conditions required spoles 200 to 300 millimeter to be used to stabilize the ground condition, and geotextile had to be used for the whole area of the site. Madam Speaker, with regard to the phase 2 of the project, upgrading of fencing at Bois des Armourettes football ground, it consists of upgrading of frontage fencing, and the contract was allocated to Sotravic Limited on 30th January 2024 by the NDU under its framework agreement for amenities for an amount of 4,113,109 rupees and cents 55, including of VAT. The works started on 4th March 2024. The project includes the demolition of an existing block wall over a length of 84.29 meter, excavation and laying of blinding concrete, erection of block wall fencing up to a height of 1 meter above existing ground level, supply and fixing of heavy-duty galvanized fencing up to a height of 4.5 meter, supply of 1 main gate and 1 pedestrian gate. Madam Speaker, as per part B of the question, I am informed that the phase 2, which was supposed to be completed on 22 July 2024, it is now scheduled for 20 December 2024.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Honourable Member.
Yes, Madam the Speaker. Now we know that the phase 2, that the work began on the 4th of March 2024, and which was set for completion on the 22nd of July 2024. However, same will now be completed on the 20th of December 2024, as informed by the Honourable Minister. Were there any liquidated damages applied by the National Development Unit? And also, if Honourable Minister can
You can't both stand at the same time.
Yes.
Let him finish, Minister.
Yeah, okay.
And also, if Honourable Minister can give a special attention for the project to be completed in the nearest delay.
Did you get his
Yeah.
question? I didn't, but it's all right.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Due to the late completion of the outstanding works by the contractor without justification, liquidated damage amounting to 245,000, excluding of VAT, were applied by the NDU. And we will follow the works closely to complete the work timely.
Thank you. Your next question.
Thank you, Madam the Speaker. Is question 1B71.
Madam Speaker, the project of renew the old defective distribution network along coastal road of Grand Port, including Anjonc et Bambou-Veilleux, is in two phases. Phase one of the project covers the section from Anjonc to Bambou-Veilleux and Petit Sable. Pipes are being replaced of a length of 6.4 kilometers, and works have commenced on the 10th of June 2024. The scheduled completion date is on 10 February 2025. As at date, 5.4 kilometers of pipes have already been laid, of which 3.9 kilometers have been tested and commissioned. Temporary work reinstatement has been completed over 4.5 kilometers. Regarding phase 2 of the project, from Féané to Anjonc, oui, j'y arriverai. The total length of pipe replacement is 6.7 kilometers, and work have started on 7 October 2024, with an expected completion date of 6 June 2025. As of now, 2.5 kilometers of pipeline have been laid, and temporary road installment have been completed for 1.8 kilometers. Madam Speaker, following the completion and commissioning of the above 13.1 kilometers of new pipeline by June 2025, next year, dans 6 mois, it is expected that water distribution for approximately 1,800 households in the region would be considerably improved. Thus, the village of Bambou-Veilleux, which is currently being provided with water through CWA water tankers on alternate days, will be supplied with water through the newly laid pipe with adequate pressure. In addition, the villages of Grand Port, Anjonc et Bambou-Veilleux will benefit from 18 hours of supply daily instead of 12 hours currently. J'espère la réponse est satisfaisante. Merci, Madame.
He's doing his best.
Thank you, Madam the Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Honourable third member for Montagne Blanche and Grand River South East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1B72.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Central Water Authority that to improve water supply in the region of Montagne Blanche and Grand Rivière Southeast, we are currently engaged in the following project. 1. Upgrading of the distribution network through the replacement of 6.82 kilometers of pipeline along several laterals in the region of Bramstan and Bel Air. The Central Water Authority has identified another 9.7 kilometers of pipeline to be renewed in the coming years. And 2, preliminary investigation in connection with the proposed drilling of new borehole at L'Étoile to harness additional groundwater to supply the region. Madam Speaker, with regards to part B of the question, I am informed that the Central Water Authority proposes to abstract water from Deep River to Pont-Landier via a river intake structure to be treated in a new water treatment plant. The project at Pont-Landier comprises 3 components, namely the construction of a river intake structure on Deep River, a water treatment plant, and a service reservoir. The water treatment plant will have a capacity of 15,000 meter cube day, while the reinforced concrete service reservoir will have a capacity of 4,000 meter cube. I am informed that financial clearance for the project has been obtained. and the Central Water Authority will be notified of the relevant clearances shortly. It is expected that the construction works at Pont Landier would start by December 2025. In the light of the above, Madam Speaker, the construction of a dam at Pont Landier would not be warranted. Merci, Madame.
Vous ne vous êtes pas planté.
Heureusement.
Très bien. Happy? Okay, so next is Mrs. Savard. Let me say properly. The Honourable First Member for Portris North and Mortain. Wrong.
Thank you, Madam
Don't
Speaker.
touch it. Don't touch it.
It's okay.
Just speak.
B74, please.
Madam Speaker, the Long Mountain Hospital is classified as a district hospital falling under SSRN Regional Hospital and caters for a population of 28,233. In regard to Part A of the question, the hospital is open 7 days a week. The sorted outpatient departments and dental services operate from 9 in the morning for 16 hours on weekdays and 9 in the morning to noon on Saturdays. The hemodialysis unit operates from 8 in the morning to 9 p.m. during weekdays and from 8 in the morning to noon on Saturdays. The Accident and Emergency Department and the Nufa Rehabilitation Center, where patients of 18 years or above suffering from drug addiction are catered for, operate on a 24/7 basis. Madam Speaker, in regard to Part B of the question, the following facilities and services are available at the hospital are: 1. Accident and emergency, 2. Ambulance services, 3. Dietitian clinic, 4. Endocrinology clinic, 5. Hemodialysis, 6. Methadone clinic, 7. The outpatient department serve chronic and stable patients referred to from SSRN for follow-up care in these departments, which include cardiology, chest diseases, dermatology, diabetology, ENT, general medicine, general surgery, NCD, obstetrics, orthopedics, pediatrics, physical medicine, psychiatry. 8. Pharmacy services, 9. Rheumatology clinic, 10. Tobacco cessation clinic, 11. Vaccination for child and adults, and 12. Well baby clinic. In 2022 and 2023, the hospital treated 54,358 and 66,378 patients respectively. Madam Speaker, we have noted that the pharmacy department has been operating from 8 in the morning till 10 hours for a long period. Patients who arrive after 8 in the evening either obtain their medicines from SSRN or return the next morning. The option of providing 24/7 pharmacy services is being looked into. Madam Speaker, I am further apprised that the following shortcomings were noted during a site visit carried out recently. A. The yard requires proper upkeep, and the Regional Health Services Administrator has been urged to address this matter urgently. Road markings, curb painting, and parking works are in progress. Additionally, there is a need for lopping and trimming of branches, for which approval has already been granted by the Conservator of Forest, and funds have accordingly been earmarked. The parking facilities are being looked into with 47 additional new parking slots and the reinstatement of 20 existing parking spaces. A survey has been completed and funds will be allocated once the Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development provides its recommendation. B. The exterior painting of the hospital has been completed, while the interior painting is ongoing and is expected to be finished by the end of December. Roof leakages at the new Ford Detoxification Center and hemodialysis unit are being repaired, and works are expected to be completed by the end of the month. There is a defective air conditioning unit in the pharmacy store as well as in the consultation room number 1, which are currently under evaluation. Additionally, there are no air conditioning units in 3 other consultation rooms, which is being looked into by the concerned head of units. And 4, the wooden old building housing the linen room needs to be demolished. The construction of a new linen shed has been included in the list of projects submitted to the project implementation unit.
Yes? Don't touch.
La région de Montagne-Longue qui fait souvent face à des coupures d'électricité et l'hôpital de Montagne-Longue n'étant pas équipé d'un générateur, may I ask the Honourable Minister whether he will look into the matter so that improvement can be brought to this hospital.
Yes.
Okay, I'll look into the issue.
Thank you. Maybe I shall guide you as to the use of the mic. Even I did a mistake. You can't cross, in my case. You shouldn't touch the mic. You just speak. C'est très, très, très performant. Just speak. Sensible, mais surtout, il n'a pas besoin que... Ça peut être pire si vous touchez. Je sais, c'est très tentant de le faire, mais ne le faites pas, s'il vous plaît. Honorable third member for Rivière des Anguilles.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. B75.
I don't know what's going on this side. We didn't hear you. Say it again.
Yes, so thank you, Madam Speaker. B75.
Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed that the safety of hoists and lifts at places of work is governed by Section 53 of the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA 2005, as well as the Occupational Safety and Health Safety at Lift at Work Regulation 2012, while the safety of escalators at places of work is governed by Section 54 of the same Act. As per the provisions of Section 53 and 54 of OSHA, every lift and escalator should be examined by a registered machinery inspector who is a registered professional engineer registered at my ministry, with at least once every 6 months, he has to file an original report with the National Occupational Safety and Health Department of my ministry. In accordance with Section 62 of OSHA, it is the duty of a registered machinery inspector to inform in writing the employer or self-employed person or owner, as the case may be, immediately after having completed an examination that such equipment is unsuitable for use if the nature of any defect is likely to adversely affect the continued safe use of that equipment. Madam Speaker, following the very unfortunate incident at Grand Bay La Croisette involving a travelator, my ministry is considering measures to be taken to improve the safety in the use of escalators, lifts, and travelators. And we are considering the review of the existing occupational safety and health safety of lift at work regulation, together with the occupational safety and health safety of escalators at work. Regulation will be made. We are setting up a technical committee, and we will hold discussion with the various stakeholders. And here I'd like to point out that one of the shortcomings that my ministry has detected while carrying out this investigation in the inquiry in Grand Bay La Croisette is that some of these escalators and the travelators, because it was a travelator, not an escalator, tapis roulant, they did not have automatic sensors that will stop the machine automatically throughout the travelators. They have it at the beginning, they have it at the end, they don't have it all along. They have a manually operated switch, emergency switch, at the beginning and the end of the travelators, but they don't have it throughout the travelators. So this is one thing that we are going to take up also with the representative of the manufacturers to see how they can improve the safety of these travelators, these escalators. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that for the period from 25th of November to 12th of December of this year, officers of my ministry carried out 29 visits in relation to the use of lifts and escalators at places of work, including shopping malls, where they issued 19 notices and established 10 contraventions. Inspection regarding the use of lifts and escalation at other places of work are ongoing. I further wish to inform the House that a total of 3,855 visits at workplace have been carried out by officers of my ministry for the period from January 2023 to November 2024. During visits at places of work, officers of my ministry has ensured that employers are complying with the provisions of current legislation, including provision pertaining to lifts and escalators.
Thank you, Minister. Yes. Next question. Honourable Fourth Member of Portrush North and Montagnard. He's not here. I will go to the next question. I suppose he will get a written reply. The Honourable Third Member for Rivière des Anguilles, Souillac.
Yes, Madam Speaker, thank you. B77.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed that on 7th December 2021, the Ministry awarded a contract to CPN Distributors Limited through emergency procurement method for the supply of 999,000 capsules of molnupiravir at a total price of 79,840,080. That is 79.92 per unit. 79 rupees 92 cents per unit. I'm also informed that no inquiry was conducted at the level of the ministry in this case, as by mid-December 2021, the then Independent Commission Against Corruption had started an investigation on contracts awarded for the procurement of molnupiravir tablets for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. With regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that the police is not inquiring into any case relating to the procurement of molnupiravir capsules. However, there is an ongoing investigation at the level of the Financial Crimes Commission, formerly ICAC, and at this stage, no formal charge has yet been lodged before any law court.
Thank you. Yes, the second member for Rivière des Anguilles, Souillac.
Thank you, Madam. Question B78, please.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Land Drainage Authority that constituency number 13, Rivière des Anguilles and Souillac, covers an extent of some 150 kilometers of drain network, out of which some 69 kilometers falls under the purview of the District Council of Savane and about 36 kilometers under the purview of the Road Development Authority for cleaning and maintenance. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that for the financial year 2023-2024, funding allocated to the District Council of Savane for cleaning of drains and desilting of rivers was as follows: 2.5 million allocated for cleaning of drains, 28 million for desilting of rivers, and 6.7 million for cleaning of drains post-Cyclone Bellade. Madam Speaker, a maintenance plan was submitted by the LDA to the District Council of Savane on 29 July 2024, and as at date, 19 kilometers of drains out of the 69 kilometers have been cleaned, and desilting works along 11-kilometer rivers water courses have been carried out by the Savane District Council. With your permission, Madam Speaker, I'm tabling a copy of the maintenance plan. Madam Speaker, the RDA on its part has already cleaned some 7.5 kilometers of drains, and around 800 meters are left to be cleaned as per its program for the current financial year. The total amount spent by the District Council and the RDA since January 2020 to date for cleaning of drains and desilting of rivers in constituency number 13 is in the tune of some 24 million. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that together with my colleague, the Minister of Local Government, and the Junior Minister of Local Government, I chaired a meeting with representatives of all the local authorities and other implementing agencies on 5th December 2024 to take stock of the cleaning and desilting of canals, rivers and drains undertaken so far. These agencies have been pressed upon to give due attention to complete the remaining works in view of the ongoing raining season. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Yes.
Madam the Speaker, can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether he's happy with the way the works has been done, since billions of public's money has been drained in the drains by the previous government? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, as I said, we are never satisfied. Obviously, we spend a lot of money on drain projects, but what follows up, the cleaning of drains, I must tell you, it is not done properly. Because what the use of constructing drains, but then afterwards, there's no cleaning of the drains. So now we will ensure that proper cleaning of the drains is carried out regularly. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Third Member for Kati Military and Mocha.
B79.
Madam Speaker, I am informed that Cité Myosotis is cut off from Saint-Pierre Centre and Saint-Pierre RCA School by River Profonde. At present, in order to get access to the school and other facilities in the village, the inhabitants need to travel around 1 kilometer through an existing bridge. As the pedestrian bridge being referred to in the question was damaged since 2017, the reconstruction of same was included in end-use list of projects for financial year 2017-2018. With regard to part A of the question, following completion of design and geotechnical investigations, a bidding exercise was carried out by the NDU in November 2023 for the appointment of a contractor for the reconstruction of the footbridge at Cité Myosotis, Saint-Pierre. Following evaluation of bids received, the exercise was cancelled as the amount quoted by the lowest evaluated responsive bidder was substantially higher than the cost estimated by 33%. Subsequently, the cost estimate was reviewed and a second bidding exercise was undertaken by the NDU in July 2024. Again, the amount quoted by the lowest evaluated responsive bidder was higher than the cost estimate by 38%. The exercise had to be cancelled once again. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that in January 2024, with the passage of Cyclone Belal, the pedestrian bridge has been almost demolished, causing more hardship to the inhabitants. The new bridge to be constructed will be 27 meters long, having a width of 2 meters, and will be raised to a height of 4.5 meters from the riverbed. In view of the rise of the cost of materials and the volatility of the market, the cost estimate of the project is being reviewed anew, following which financial clearance will be sought prior to launching of bids. Madam Speaker, as regards part B of the question, I am informed that no risk assessment has been carried out by my ministry. In fact, the pedestrian bridge is damaged to the extent that it cannot be used to cross the river. Nevertheless, I've already requested my colleague, the Minister of Local Government, to inform the District Council of Mocha to ensure that the public has no access to the damaged bridge. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, the Honourable Second Member for Gambé Poudre d'Or.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 1B80.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I am informed by the National Land Transport Authority that buses plying along routes 187 and 178 serves the regions of Mamsel Jeanne, Madame Azor, Melville, and Poudre-d'Or village. Accordingly, a shuttle service is currently being provided by one individual bus operator along route 187, that is from Mamsel Jeanne to Goodlands, and back from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the afternoon at an interval of 30 minutes during peak time and 1 hour during off-peak time. As regards route 178, that is Melville to Goodlands, via Madame Azor with extension to Poudre-d'Or, there are 6 individual bus operators licensed to operate thereat. However, 2 of these buses are off-road since approximately 3 months now due to serious breakdown, and this could be the source of prompting this parliamentary question from the Honourable Bijan. However, I have to stress that the remaining 4 buses are presently operating at an average interval of 30 minutes from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Madam Speaker, with a view to alleviating the hardship of commuters in these regions, a shuttle service has recently been introduced, and same is being provided by a 32-seater bus from the National Transport Corporation from Madame Azor to Goodlands between 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening during weekdays only. I'm also informed that a temporary road service license has been granted to an individual bus operator in accordance with Section 77D of the Road Traffic Act since 19 September 2024 to increase the fleet of buses along Route 178, and same should be implemented before the end of this month. So this should somehow bring some relief. It is believed that this, so I rely on the Honourable Bijan for feedback if this is not working at the end of this month. Thank you.
Yes.
Could the Minister inform the House whether consideration will be given for officers to effect regular separate checks so as to ensure that there is no abuse by transport operators in the regions of Mamsel Jeanne, Melville, Madame Azor, and Poudre-d'Or village?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I can certainly ask the National Land Transport Authority Inspectorate to maintain regular checks and to see whether the situation is okay or not.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, the Honourable Second Member for Vieux-Grand-Port and Rosebel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's question 1B81.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Financial Services Commission that following damages sustained by several motor vehicles during flooding caused by Cyclone Belal on 15 January 2024, the then government on 19 January 2024 decided to compensate vehicle owners whose vehicles were affected through the FSC. This was an exceptional situation for the Commission, which as a regulator does not normally make payment with respect to insurance claims. Madam Speaker, I am informed by the FSC that the eligibility criteria for the payment of compensation to beneficiaries was determined by the FSC in consultation with the Insurers Association of Mauritius and the officers of the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development. Initially, vehicles owned by private individuals which were present on roads, at workplaces or at public places were eligible for compensation, which was further extended to micro and small enterprises having turnover not exceeding 30 million. Madam Speaker, I am also informed by the FSC that compensation paid for cases of comprehensive insurance cover represented the depreciated amount, that is the gap between the market value and the sum assured, and the policy excess for vehicles classified as total loss by insurance companies, whereas for cases where the vehicles could be repaired, the policy excess only was compensated. As for cases of vehicles classified as total loss under third-party insurance cover, the difference between pre-accident value and salvage cost, that is the residual value of the scrap vehicle, as determined by an independent motor surveyor and government valuer, was paid as compensation. For cases where the vehicles could be repaired, the cost of repairs as determined by the motor surveyor and government valuer was compensated. Madam Speaker, with respect to Part A of the question, the total amount of funds disbursed by the FSC as per the aforementioned criteria as at to date is 58,640,344 rupees, representing 1,163 flooded vehicle cases. With respect to Part B of the question, Madam Speaker, I am informed by the FSC that no other type of compensation was paid to the beneficiaries. As regard to Part C of the question, I wish to inform the House that for those vehicles under comprehensive insurance cover, the onus was on the insurance companies to assess individual claims prior to payment being effected to victims as per the established criteria, whereas in the case of third-party insurance cover, the services of independent motor surveyors and government valuers from the Ministry of Infrastructure were also returned by the FSC to reassess the surveys done by independent motor surveyors as a control mechanism. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, I have now the Honourable First Member for Savannah and Black River.
Thank you. B82.
Madam Speaker, I presume that the Honourable Member is referring to Smart Clinics Limited. Madam Speaker, I am informed that Smart Clinics Limited was, in May 2018, granted a 60 years industrial lease over a plot of state land of an extent of 1 arpent 75 pêche, being part of the Pas Géométrique at Grande Rivière Noire for the setting up of a wellness, medical clinic and residential care home for retired persons. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that following an application from Smart Clinics Limited for a change in purpose to dental and wellness, medical clinic, restaurant and apartments for sale under vente en état futur d'achèvement, VEFA, through règlement de copropriété, the lease was accordingly amended in September 2021. Madam Speaker, with your permission, I am tabling a copy of each of the two lease agreements. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Yes?
Madam Speaker, is the Minister aware of a court case against the Ministry of Land and Housing where the previous owner is seeking damages for 1 billion rupees, and whether he will review the process of terminating the previous owner's lease as a precautionary measure, as we all know that the previous government has been terminating contracts and leases and dilapidating the public funds.
Careful, Minister.
In reply,
Yes.
Madam Speaker, to the supplementary question, I shall arrange to have a list of the court case rulings to be laid in the library of the National Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. All right. The Honourable Third Member for Grand-Bay. Yes. Il attend même pas.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that upon assuming office, I have requested officers of my ministry to consider the waiving of fees payable by users of football pitches and other playgrounds falling under our purview. This will be in line with our objective of encouraging more of our citizens to engage into the practice of sport and physical activities. In this context, officers of my ministry are actively looking into the implication of such a measure, and consultation will thereafter be held with the Minister of Finance.
Yes. The Honourable Third Member for Vieux-Grand-Port.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1B84, please.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the National Land Transport Authority that there are 6 buses owned by individual bus operators which are licensed to operate along Route 87, that is Saint-Hubert, Cupip via Saint-Hilaire, Beaujardin and Dubras. However, only 4 of them are providing their services. One bus has attained the age of 20 years since April 2023 and has not been replaced, while the license of the second bus has been revoked since 9th of March 2023, following several recurrent charges, including failing to observe timetable and performing special route trips without permit, as the case is at the level, and the case is at the level of the appeal committee. In order to ensure an adequate level of service thereat, 3 buses of the National Transport Corporation are supplementing the service along the said route. Buses are being released at interval of 20 minutes during peak time and 40 minutes during off-peak. Additionally, one school service is performed by the NTC in the morning at 6:55 hours from Saint-Hubert and 14:10 hours in the afternoon from Cupid. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that since the introduction of NTC buses along Route 87, the number of complaints pertaining to the said route has decreased. With regard to bus service along Route 11, that is Saint-Hubert-Maillebourg via Saint-Hilaire, Beaujardin and Grand-Belair, I am informed that 6 individual owned buses are licensed to operate their route, and all of them are providing service. It is to be noted that one of them is operating on a temporary basis following approval conveyed on 30th April 2024 in accordance with Section 77D of the Road Traffic Act to improve the level of service that they are. Buses along Route 11 are currently being released at an interval of 20 minutes during peak time and 30 minutes during off-peak. A short service is also provided every morning from Grand-Belair to Mayberg at 7:20 in the morning, and on school days to cater for the need of students attending secondary institution in Mayberg. As far as specific complaints along Route 87 and 11 are concerned, I am apprised by the NLTA that disciplinary actions have already been taken against some bus operators, while investigations and inquiries are ongoing for other cases. Furthermore, the NLTA has informed that the demand along the concerned localities is concentrated only during peak hours, and the number of travelling passengers during the rest of the day is marginal. The NLTA has been requested to closely monitor the operation of buses thereat and to come up with additional remedial measures to improve the situation of commuters. With your permission, Madam, and in order to save time of the House, I am tabling the details of the timetable in respect of Route 87 and 11, please. Thank you.
Minister. Yes, Mr. Anders.
Madame la Présidente, ces 2 routes, 11 et 87 respectivement, de ce que je comprends, sont desservies en partie par la NTC et en partie par les opérateurs d'autobus privés. Et de ce que je comprends à ce jour, le plus gros souci, qui dure depuis des années déjà, demeure relatif aux opérateurs privés et qui de loin ne fournissent pas un service régulier comme convenu. Would the Honourable Minister, of course, have taken note of the reply given to by the Honourable Minister, but would the Honourable Minister consider the possibility, the advisability of taking up the matter with the NLTA so that regular inspection is carried out in order for the inhabitants of Saint-Hilaire, Saint-Hubert and the Beaujardin are provided with a regular service, a decent regular service?
No, I'm sure he will.
I certainly will, and I rely also on the Honourable Member that after that, the NLTA inspector would have gone out, and if you're still not satisfied, to get back to me. Thank you.
Honourable Member from Rodrigues. Honourable third member from Rodrigues. Yes.
La question.
On n'a pas entendu. Juste vous le mettez tout droit, voilà.
La question B85.
Merci.
Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, I wish to apprise the House that my ministry is presently working a new policy to address the issue of rising costs of commodities. To that effect, I have already chaired several meetings with representatives of the Ministry of Finance and other stakeholders with a view to define the new policy. Discussions are still ongoing. This new policy will also include extending the present range of products commercialized by the STC. With regard to Part B of the question, I wish to reassure the House that the new policy will also extend to Rodrigues along with a new range of products.
Thank you, Minister. Yes. The Honourable third member for Portrush South and Portrush Central.
B86, please.
Madam Speaker, in reply to Part A of the question, I am informed that no site visit was effected in July 2024. Instead, a preliminary site visit was carried out by a team of specialists and technicians on 4th October 2024. It was then observed that there was several unused medical equipment at the National Cancer Center comprising motorized beds, ICU ventilators, syringe pumps, high-end central monitoring system, multi-parameter patient monitor, amongst others. Subsequently, an extended team of officers comprising the consultant in charge, anesthesia, the neonatal pediatric respiratory therapist, the superintendent, healthcare technology workshop, 2 biomedical engineers, 3 senior healthcare technologists, and a procurement and supply officer carried out a detailed survey and drew a list of unused therapeutic and diagnostic equipment at the National Cancer Center indicating functionality to date. The survey was carried out from 19th to 22nd November 2024, and the report was submitted on 20th November 2024. A list of the unused medical equipment is being tabled accordingly. Madam Speaker, in reply to Part B of the question, I carried out a site visit at the National Cancer Center along with officers of my ministry on 2nd December 2024 to take cognizance of the unused medical equipment. I was apprised that some of these unused medical equipment was faulty and needed calibration. Action has been initiated to draw a list of equipment that would be utilized at the National Cancer Center, whilst the remaining unused medical equipment will be redistributed to the regional hospitals as per the respective requirements. Additionally, some major equipment was not operational, namely 1 PET scan, 1 brachytherapy, and 1 Lignac machine. The PET scan requires alignment and calibration. Moreover, there was reported delay in the delivery of consumables. The brachytherapy will be functional shortly with the operationalization of the operation theatre. As for the Lignac machine, one has already been installed while the other is being installed. Both these machines will be functional by mid-January 2025. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that due to scarcity of anesthetists and other specialized staff to run the operation theatre, the diagnostic and therapeutic equipment were not being utilized. Active consideration is being given to launch the new onco-surgery operation theatre with a new multidisciplinary team of local experienced specialists as from January 2025. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to announce that the multidisciplinary team at the National Cancer Center will be assisted by a foreign onco-surgeon team headed by Dr. Sri Prakash Durasamy from Chennai, India. He is a renowned consultant with more than 10 years experience in oncology.
I will call the next question, which is the last question. Time is almost over. Sorry, Doctor. Honourable third member for Yedizan-Souillac. That is the last question. Honourable third member. Mr. Aouyaru.
I apologize, Madam Speaker. B87, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, I have taken cognizance of a draft police and criminal justice bill which was prepared in 2019 under the previous government. I understand that in 2019, the draft bill was circulated to the Commissioner of Police, the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Forensic Lab for their views and comments. It was then proposed that the final version of the bill would be circulated and given due publicity for the views of the judiciary, law practitioners, and the public at large. Unfortunately, this was not done. Furthermore, during the last legislature, my predecessor had informed the House that the reconceptualization of that draft bill was being undertaken. However, I have seen nothing of the sort. Madam Speaker, I wish to reassure the House that the introduction of a police and criminal evidence bill, or a derivative thereof, is indeed on the list of priorities of this government. You will recall, under the previous leadership of the Honourable Prime Minister, the Police and Criminal Evidence Bill was introduced in the National Assembly on 16th April 2013 for first reading. However, the National Assembly was then prorogued and that bill was never went through. To achieve an effective and modern reform of our criminal justice system, Madam Speaker, we shall once again seek the collaboration of and have meaningful consultations with all relevant stakeholders, including the all-important Law Reform Commission, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Commissioner of Police, and the Forensic Lab. All stakeholders must work together in close coordination in view of preparing that important piece of legislation which will not only address the needs of our society, but also uphold and safeguard the rights of every citizen in the country. It is imperative that all strive to establish a robust, comprehensive legal framework for our criminal justice system, one that embraces emerging technological advancements, but also ensures the harmonization of all relevant legislation and their effective implementation. Madam Speaker, to develop a new draft of the bill, one that meets the highest standards and serves the nation effectively for years to come, the extensive collaboration of all relevant stakeholders is primordial. This process, by its very nature, will require careful deliberation and time so that it would be presumptuous to give a timeline. The House will have to be indulgent to give me and my office the time needed to produce what will become one of the most significant pieces of legislation for our criminal justice system this side of the millennium.
Thank you. Nous allons donner le temps au temps. Now, time is over for questions. And I just need to tell you that there are two that have been advised. Two questions have been withdrawn, B91 and B92. Now,
motion.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provision of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Is motion seconded? Thank you. The question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statements by ministers.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I have a short statement to make on Chagos. I would like to say, Madam Speaker, sir, further to my statement, I think I made the statement on the 29th of November. I informed the House that I had asked for an independent review of the draft agreement, which was proposed by the UK and agreed by the former government on the exercise of sovereignty over the Chagos archipelago. I wish to inform the House that the independent review has been completed and that the opinions submitted by the legal advisors have been considered by an interministerial committee chaired by me, which included the Deputy Prime Minister,
the Attorney General, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Madam Speaker, following the letter which the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom addressed to me on the 12th of November 2024, and the meeting which I had with Mr. Jonathan Powell, who is the UK National Security Advisor, on the 25th of November, a delegation of senior officials from the United Kingdom came to Mauritius last week for further discussions with the Mauritian authorities. Apart from meetings which were held between senior officials from Mauritius and the United Kingdom, the head of the UK delegation called upon me. During the discussions, Mauritius made clear that while it is still willing to conclude an agreement with the United Kingdom, the draft agreement which was shown to us after the general elections is one which, in our view, would not produce the benefits that the nation could expect from such an agreement. Therefore, Mauritius accordingly submitted counter-proposals to the UK so that an agreement which is in the best interest of Mauritius can be concluded. The response of the United Kingdom to our counter-proposals was received yesterday afternoon and is now being currently considered. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Public bills, first reading.
Madam Speaker, I move that the Employment Relations Amendment Bill number 19 of 2024 be read the first time.
The motion needs to be seconded. Yes, I'm sorry.
Madam Speaker, I move that the Special Allowance Bill number 20 of 2024 be read a first time.
Who's seconding the motion? Thank you.
Public bill, second reading.
Madam Speaker, I move that the Employment Relations Amendment Bill number 19 of 2024 be read a second time. Madame la Présidente, j'ai l'honneur et le privilège de présenter le premier projet de loi de l'Alliance du changement après notre victoire historique aux dernières élections générales. La très grande majorité des électeurs et la population dans son ensemble a placé leur espoir en notre équipe et nous ferons de notre mieux pour être à la hauteur de leurs attentes. Et c'est tout un symbole, Madame la Présidente, que les deux premiers projets de loi à l'ordre du jour visent à améliorer les conditions de vie des travailleurs de ce pays. Tout un symbole, car tout d'abord, le Parti travailliste, Labour Party, comme ce nom l'indique, a pris naissance en 1936 précisément pour défendre la cause des travailleurs. Un combat repris par le mouvement militant mauricien, le MMM, qui a beaucoup œuvré pour la reconnaissance et le respect des droits des travailleurs, tout comme Résistance et Alternatives, qui a toujours milité comme syndicaliste pour le bien-être des travailleurs. Et aujourd'hui, nous sommes rejoints dans notre combat par les nouveaux démocrates. Madame la Présidente, le projet de loi devant la Chambre aujourd'hui consiste à amender the Employment Relations Act afin de donner au ministre du Travail le pouvoir de réglementer le paiement de salaires additionnels suite à l'introduction ou à la révision du salaire minimum. Le ministre pourra dès lors, à travers des regulations, rendre obligatoire le paiement d'un salaire additionnel pour rétablir la relativité salariale dans les secteurs privés. À chaque fois qu'on fixe un nouveau salaire minimum, il faut aussi ajuster les salaires des autres employés pour maintenir la relativité salariale, notamment pour prendre en considération le temps de service des employés existants et leur grade. Sous les lois existantes, il y a deux façons de procéder pour l'ajustement des salaires suite à l'introduction du salaire minimum. Dans le premier cas, le National Wage Consultative Council peut faire des recommandations au ministre du Travail. C'est l'une de ses fonctions prévues expressément à l'article 5B5 et 5B6 du National Wage Constitutive Council Act de 2016. Dans le deuxième cas, le ministre peut, sous l'article 93 de l'Employment Relations Act, demander au National Remuneration Board de lui recommander une nouvelle grille salariale. Suite à l'introduction du salaire minimum en janvier 2018, le ministre avait demandé au National Remuneration Board de lui proposer des ajustements au salaire des employés du secteur privé et suite aux recommandations du NRB, en 2022, 17 Remuneration Regulations ont été amendées. Cependant, lorsqu'en janvier 2024, le salaire minimum passe à 16 500 roupies, le gouvernement sortant choisit de faire fi aux dispositions de la loi et adopter une toute autre procédure. Au lieu de demander au National Wage Constitutive Council ou au National Remuneration Board de venir avec des recommandations pour les ajustements salariales, le 3 juillet 2024, un comité ministériel présidé par le Premier ministre d'alors décide d'instituer un Technical Committee sous la présidence de l'Acting Financial Secretary. C'était le 3 juillet. Et 2 jours après, seulement 2 jours après, le 5 juillet 2024, le comité a recommandé une augmentation de 4 925 roupies par rapport au salaire de 2023. Pas de grille salariale, pas d'études approfondies, pas de consultation avec les représentants des travailleurs et du patronat. Le 13 septembre 2024, 32 Remuneration Regulations furent amendées pour donner effet aux recommandations du Technical Committee. Ces regulations étaient faites supposément sous l'article 106 de l'Employment Relations Act. Madame la Présidente, les réactions n'ont pas tardé. Que ce soit du côté de Business Mauritius ou de certains syndicalistes, tout le monde a déclaré que le ministre n'avait pas le droit, le ministre d'alors, n'avait pas le pouvoir d'amender les Remuneration Orders dans les conditions qu'il les avait faites. Je me souviens très bien, l'honorable Ashok Soubon, en ce temps simple syndicaliste de Résistance et Alternative, lors d'un rassemblement à Triolet, demandait au gouvernement de rappeler le Parlement d'urgence, car selon lui, et il avait raison, les ajustements salariaux auraient dû être faits à travers un projet de loi et non à travers des regulations. Mais au lieu de rappeler le Parlement, le 24 septembre, le ministre a tout simplement révoqué les 32 Remuneration Regulations seulement pour les remplacer par d'autres regulations identiques, mais cette fois-ci fait supposément sous l'article 94 et 106 de l'Employment Relations Act. Madame la Présidente, ce qui devrait arriver arriva, et le 9 octobre, quelques jours plus tard, Business Mauritius entra une action en Cour suprême pour contester la légalité des 32 règlements. Le lendemain, une entreprise privée, Acteur Anuatora Limited, entra aussi une action pour contester la légalité du Distributive Trade Remuneration Amendment No. 2, Regulation 2024. En conséquence, plusieurs entreprises du privé ont choisi de ne pas payer les salaires additionnels tant que la Cour suprême n'aurait pas tranché sur ces deux affaires. Et les deux affaires sont appelées pro forma à nouveau au mois de janvier de l'année prochaine. Et ces affaires, comme vous le savez, Madame la Présidente, risquent de prendre plusieurs mois, voire des années, avant qu'on ait un jugement déterminé, final. Madame la Présidente, dès ma prise de fonction, j'ai rencontré plusieurs syndicalistes, de même que les représentants de Business Mauritius, et tous deux m'ont demandé de trouver une solution pour que les travailleurs du secteur privé puissent obtenir le paiement de leur salaire additionnel sans avoir à attendre la délibération de la Cour suprême. Je me suis entretenu avec les représentants du State Law Office et à mon grand étonnement, Madame la Présidente, j'ai pris connaissance d'un avis légal du bureau du Solicitor General en date du 2 septembre 2024. Le 2 septembre 2024, c'était une dizaine de jours avant que le ministre vienne de l'avant avec ses remuneration regulations. Et que dit cet avis légal? Et je cite un extrait. Accordingly, it seems that there is at present no legal basis expressly provided for the enactment of regulation to reflect wage relativity adjustment following the review of the national minimum wage. No legal basis. Additionally, it also appears that there is no legal basis for regulation to be made in respect of employees who are not governed by any remuneration regulation, nor for the making of regulation to provide for national minimum wages for jobs warranting the possession of a diploma or degree as entry requirements. Therefore, Madam Speaker, the former government was well aware that there was no express legal basis for the Minister of Labour to make the 32 remuneration regulation which he made back in September 2024. And today, with this bill, Madam Speaker, we are correcting all this so that employees in the private sector, eligible employees in the private sector, can finally get their additional remuneration. Now, turning to the specific provisions of the bill. Clause 3 repeals and replaces the existing Section 94 of the Employment Rights Act. The new Section 94, subsection 1, is similar to the existing subsection 1 and empowers the Minister to make regulation to reflect payment of additional remuneration or national minimum wage or wage adjustment arising from the introduction or review of the national minimum wage in the salary of employees prescribed by remuneration orders. Subsection 2A of Clause 3 gives the Minister express powers to make regulation for the payment of wage adjustment to address the issue of wage relativity, not only with respect to remuneration regulations made under Section 93 of the Employment Relations Act, but also in respect of industry or sector of activity not covered by the remuneration regulation. And I pose here to add, Madam Speaker, that this is an extremely important amendment that is being proposed, and it is an amendment that has been requested time and again by the trade unionists, because up to now, only employees working in industries and sectors that were governed by remuneration regulations were eligible to get salary adjustment. But with this amendment, the Minister will be also able to provide for the payment of additional salary to those employees in the private sector that are not covered by remuneration regulations. However, a word of caution, such worldwide powers should be used judiciously and not arbitrarily. In practice, the Minister should rely on recommendation of the National Remuneration Board or the Wage Consultative Council before making any regulations. Subsection 2B empowers the Minister to make regulation to provide for a monthly minimum basic wage for employees holding a diploma or post-HSC first degree where the entry requirements for the job so require. You will recall that such provision was not provided for in the law as per the advice tendered by the State Law Office. The proposed minimum monthly basic wage will be 23,000 rupees for a job requiring an employee to possess a diploma and 25,000 rupees for a job requiring an employee to possess a post-HSC first degree. Subsection 4 provides that the 32 remuneration regulations that was passed in September shall be deemed to have been made under this Act, thereby eliminating any doubt as to their legality. Clause 5 of the bill provides for the coming into operation of the above provisions with effect as from 1st July 2014. With the coming into force of this bill, eligible employees in the private sector will be paid an additional salary retrospectively as from 1st July 2024. Madam Speaker, it was necessary for government to come with this bill first, because before passing the special allowance bill, which is also on today's order paper, because we want to make sure that the special allowance that will be paid which will be based on a worker's basic salary, should include the adjustment to that basic salary as per the amendment that is being brought today in this House. With these words, I commend the bill to the House. Thank you.
I think at this time we can move for tea, for a break, for tea. We can come back. Unless, is that all right? Is it okay? We'll all go for tea and then come back? Yes, but I like consensus. Since you're here, I like consensus. All right, let's break for tea for half an hour. Half an hour.